Good morning. My name is Lillian Govis, Buncombe County Director of Communications and Public Engagement, and this is your community briefing for Wednesday, March 5th. As many of you have seen the alerts and news stories, our region has experienced several wildfires in the past few days. All fires in Buncombe County have been contained and are no longer posing risks at this time. We thank all of the crews and first responders who work to contain these fires. While we did receive rain overnight, I think I had about a half an inch at my house in Swannanoa, but a burn ban remains in effect in Buncombe County due to low humidity and strong winds that will be coming in. This ban is in effect until Friday at 9 a.m. with the possibility of an extension. This ban is on all open burning of yard waste, debris, and land clearing burns. Fires in pits, barbecue grills, cooking fires, warming fires, or chimneys and outdoor stoves smaller than 3 feet in diameter are not included in this ban. It's never legal to burn anything other than naturally occurring vegetation, and open burning is never permitted within municipal or town limits. This ban does not affect the North Carolina Forest Service jurisdiction that begins at 100 feet from structures. Please refer those questions on permitting and jurisdiction to the North Carolina Forest Service at 828-667-5211. We also have a code purple in effect right now, and that provides emergency overflow shelter to people experiencing homelessness during extremely cold weather at or below 32 degrees, including wind chill, or 33 to 40 degrees when we have precipitation. During Code Purple, participating shelters will provide more beds with fewer requirements than their typical programming. As a way to help those passing by know that a Code Purple has been activated, the lights inside the Register of Deeds office at 205 College Street and the HHS building at 40 Cox Avenue will shine purple on those nights. The Code Purple locations are ABCCM, and that's for single men, ABCCM's Transformation Village for single women and women with children, and then Safe Shelter, which is for families, but a referral is required. Folks can get there using free ART bus transit, and just yesterday, the city announced that there's free Wi-Fi on ART. ABCCM shuttle picks up at Crisis Ministry, which is at 24 Cumberland Avenue at 4 p.m. And our community paramedics, the Asheville Fire Department team, and Mission Hospital can also assist with transportation for those who can't access bus services. And finally, before we get started, I know I got mine yesterday, but FCC Environmental started sending out bills to customers last week. This bill covers services from January through March. Please look for your statement and reach out to FCC Environmental if you have any questions. And their phone number is 828-820-7022. Again, FCC Environmental's phone number is 828-820-7022. Today, we're joined by lots of great speakers with really important updates. Eric Cregger, our interim property assessor, will share details about the new property reappraisal date of January 2026. The Small Business Administration is here with updates on grant deadlines. Arts AVL is here to provide updates on their business relief grants. And the city of Asheville is also here with updates from Debra Campbell and Clay Chandler. I get out of practice saying that name. But first, we will hear from our county manager, Avril Pender.
Good morning. Last night, the Board of Commissioners accepted entering a zero interest loan agreement with the state of North Carolina for $845 million to support Hurricane Helene, and actually Tropical Storm Helene, disaster response activities. This amount is based on projects that the county has submitted to the North Carolina Division of Emergency Management and the Federal Emergency Management Agency for public assistance as of February 14th, 2025. Our board also adopted its legislative agenda, which is basically what they've tasked our lobbyists in Raleigh to focus on during this legislative session. The three top priorities are allocation of recovery funds directly to local governments, to assist with stabilization of local government revenues, law enforcement, and public safety funding, and other ongoing recovery efforts. Number 2 was primary permanent housing, solutions for residents displaced by Tropical Storm Helene. And 3, support for the Emergency Watershed Protection Program. You can see the entire legislative agenda by going to www.buncombecounty.org. On Monday, earlier this week, we hosted the last of our 4 resources for recovery events at Owen High School. Over the course of the last few weeks, we welcomed over 400 residents who got connected with resources including FEMA, American Red Cross, disaster case management, small business administration, as well as county and nonprofit resources and even meals to take home. We thank everyone who came out. If you are not able to come to these events, you can access all the resources that were available through our Helene Recovery Resource Guide on buncombeready.org. It has information on housing, food, financial help, legal help, all with contact information, so it's easy to navigate and get connected. If you are in need of recovery resources and still need to apply for programs, there are a lot of important information and Helene Aid deadlines coming up. FEMA applications are still being accepted through Saturday, March 8th. You can visit FEMA in person at the Weaverville Town Hall or Fairview Public Library, open Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. and on Saturday from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. You can also apply to disasterassistance.gov or call 800-621-3362. Monday, March 10th is the deadline for disaster unemployment assistance. This program is open to Buncombe County residents who lost work due to the storm, including business owners. You can apply at des.nc.gov. The last day to apply for free debris removal through the private property debris removal is April 15th. This program allows crews to enter your property and remove or demolish storm-related debris at no cost. The fastest way to complete your application is by doing so in person at the Fairview Public Library. That's open Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. or on Saturdays from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. You can also apply online at buncombeready.org or call 828-250-6100. Good news, the U.S. Small Business Administration is extended a physical damage loan deadline for disaster declarations affected by the 2024 federal funding lapse. The new deadline to apply is April 27th, and we will hear more about that from them shortly. If you need support with FEMA, disaster unemployment assistance, food access, transportation, or other recovery needs, the North Carolina Emergency Services Disaster Case Management Program is here to help. One of the best parts of this program is that you'll be matched with a dedicated case manager who will be your personal guide throughout the recovery process. They recently shared with us that a hotel worker who was enrolled in disaster case management did not realize that disaster unemployment assistance was an option for them until they spoke with their case manager. They were able to successfully apply for assistance. So in general, participants really appreciate that someone is taking the time to contact them and walk beside them throughout the process of recovery. To apply, call 844-746-2326 or complete the intake form at buncombeready.org. Help is available in any language, including Cherokee. This past weekend was a deadline for residents to move their debris to the public right-of-way to guarantee it will be picked up. If you missed this deadline, don't worry. Like we mentioned a bit ago, you can apply for the private property debris removal program so crews can enter your property and remove debris or demolish for free. As right-of-way debris removal finishes up throughout March, Other debris efforts, including private property, waterway, and vehicle and tank removal, are still happening. So far, crews have removed over 1 million cubic yards of debris from the public right-of-way in Buncombe County. 201,300 cubic yards from right-of-ways. 294 properties have been completed using the private property debris removal. Like we shared last week, our community care station has adjusted services. The station at Bethel United Methodist has closed, and the stations open at Marken Hill Baptist Church and Fairview Ingalls will only offer laundry services moving forward. The Owen Pool Station has no changes, so you can still access shower, laundry, water, and bathrooms at the Owen Pool, and is open from 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. on weekdays and 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. on weekends. When temperatures drop below freezing, it will remain open overnight for warming. We want to remind you of a really important form on our website that county residents should use to report Helene damages to properties or stream banks. If you head to buncombeready.org, there is a link to report damages at the very top of the page. We receive over 1,500 damage reports through this form, and it has been instrumental in helping us secure additional funding and resources from state and federal partners and conduct damage inspections for safety and access. These efforts have already led to the state committing to launch a program that helps repair private bridges and roads. Through this form, we would also evaluate if you are eligible for the Emergency Watershed Protection Program through the USDA. It assists with debris-clogged waterways, floodplains, and unstable stream banks. Go to buncombeready.org to fill out the Buncombe County Property Damage Form, or call our call center at 828-250-6100 to get connected to that program. If you have not done so yet, we encourage you to bookmark engage.buncombecounty.org/buncomberecovers, our new website focused on recovery. You can also subscribe to be alerted about input and feedback opportunities in the future. And finally, we're hearing that some individuals who lost their vehicles to the storm are having difficulty getting new registrations to provide to their insurance companies. Please know that you can go inline to any license plate agency to get a duplicate registration form on the spot. A duplicate registration card can also be ordered online at payments.nc.ncdot.gov. That is payments.ncdot.gov. Under vehicle registration, choose order a duplicate registration. You, of course, have to pay a processing fee and wait on the mail by going this route, but it is another option. Our One Buncombe call center at 828-250-6100 remains open for any and all Helene questions, Monday through Friday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And next up is Eric Cregger, Interim Property Assessor.
Good morning. I'm Eric Cregger, Interim Property Assessor. Thank you for having me. I want to let folks know that some property owners in Buncombe County can expect to receive their notice of value for tax year of 2025. Notably, for business personal property, rental personal property, and real property owners whose property has been changed. That includes properties that have sustained structural damage from tropical storm Helene and have not yet been repaired. Buildings that remain damaged or destroyed as of January 1, 2025 have been reappraised for 2025. These notices are scheduled to be in the mail starting March the 10th. This new process supports our continued effort to better serve property and business owners and giving them advance notice of their assessments before tax bills are mailed in August. This is a slightly different procedure than in the past and previous years when your property tax bill would serve as your notice of value. I want to make sure people know these notices are not bills, and that business and property owners who disagree with their assessment should submit an appeal within 30 days of the notice date. Once the appeal period expires, the value will become final. If you agree with the new value, you do not need to do anything. There is a fillable appeal form for business owners available online at buncombecounty.org/business listing. Click on the personal property appeal button and click on the personal property appeal button, and then your appeal may be submitted via email at businesslisting@buncombecounty.org or by mail. All real estate property owners can start an appeal online at tax.buncombecounty.org. Type in your address to start the appeal. You'll see your property record and more. If you have any questions, you can call us at 828-250-4940 or email at realestate.questions@buncombecounty.org. And lastly, I want to tell everyone the assessment office is moving to 182 College Street on March the 20th. Please keep this in mind when you're planning a visit or sending mail. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. Next, we are happy to hear from David Fierro with the Small Business Administration.
Thank you. Happy to be here this morning. So as has already been mentioned by your county manager, our deadline for disaster loans has been extended to April the 27th. Now, let me also mention that when that happens, there's an automatic 60-day grace period. So really, we're talking about June, late June, as far as the deadline. And wanted to give you an update. As of this morning, we've loaned out $144 million in disaster loans here in North Carolina, with most of that being in this region. Now, our loans are designed to help businesses, small businesses, nonprofits, homeowners, and renters. A lot of people are surprised to learn that we actually work with renters as well on their SBA loans. So there's three loans that we work with. There's the physical damage loans, and that's for repairs and replacement of physical assets. There's the economic injury disaster loans, and that's where a business has suffered because of the disaster, but it's not physical. Maybe it's employees, maybe it's their operating equipment and so forth. So those expenses are also available to receive a loan. And then there's also a mitigation loan. And this is where someone who has an SBA loan can actually loan an amount to do some things on their property to mitigate future storms, whether they're raising things, whether they're putting in some other protections for their property. Now, our interest rates are very competitive, as low as 4% for businesses, 3.25 for nonprofits, and 2.813 for homeowners and renters. So it's kind of hard to beat the rates that are available for the folks seeking loans in this disaster. Now, if someone's interested in an SBA loan, they can go to our website, sba.gov/disaster, or they can phone our customer service center at 800-659-2955. And again, the deadline is April 27th. Let me just mention very briefly, the loan caps are up to $2 million for businesses, up to $2 million for the economic injury loans, $500,000 for home disaster loans, and up to $100,000 to repair or replace personal property, and that would apply to renters as well. And be happy to answer any questions when we get to the question and answer. Thank you.
Thank you, David. We're excited to have Rebecca Lynch, Development and Grants Director of Arts AVL, here to provide some updates on their grant programs.
Thank you. Hi, good morning. I'm Rebecca Lynch, Development and Grants Director of Arts AVL, formerly known as the Asheville Area Arts Council. Arts AVL is the designated arts agency for Buncombe County, directly serving artists and arts organizations in Buncombe County, and our mission is to keep the arts at the heart of our community. Arts and culture are what make Buncombe County a desirable place to live, work, and play. And we know that the arts will be a central driver of our local recovery and resilience. We are working diligently to ensure that creativity not only survives, but thrives as a cornerstone of our community's identity and economy. According to a recent study by Americans for the Arts, Buncombe County, North Carolina was home to 483 arts establishments during 2022 and ranked #1 out of all 100 North Carolina counties for arts and cultural establishments per 10,000 residents. By the same measure, Buncombe County ranked 47th out of all 3,144 US counties. We know that our arts are a large and important part of our community. Last fall, immediately in the wake of Helene, Arts AVL launched the Emergency Relief Grant for individual artists from all 26 impacted Western North Carolina counties. By the end of November, Arts AVL had awarded 1,500 unrestricted $500 stipends to Western North Carolina artists impacted by Hurricane Helene. As part of our next phase of relief and recovery efforts, Arts AVL recently launched the Arts AVL Arts Business Relief Grant. Western North Carolina arts businesses, both for-profit and not-for-profit, focused in the hardest hit areas of craft, visual, and performing arts, which includes music, impacted by Hurricane Helene, are invited to apply. Businesses must have been producing quality arts programming or products for at least 2 consecutive years, have an operating budget of at least $20,000 annually, be physically located in one of the following counties: Alexander, Allegheny, Ashe, Avery, Buncombe, Burke, Caldwell, Catawba, Clay, Cleveland, Gaston, Haywood, Henderson, Jackson, Lincoln, Macon, Madison, McDowell, Mitchell, Polk, Rutherford, Swain, Transylvania, Watauga, Wilkes, and Yancey. Grants of up to $5,000 will be awarded based on the budget size of the business and the revenue losses caused by Helene. Recipients may use this grant to fund salaries, artist fees, production, promotion, programming expenses, supplies and equipment, office and facility operation. Most importantly, the deadline to apply is March 14th, 2025 at 11:59 p.m. Again, the deadline to apply, March 14th, 2025. For full grant deadlines and the application link, please visit artsavl.org/relief. artsavl.org/relief. Our artists and arts organizations are major economic drivers and revitalizers. They've breathed new life into downtown in the 80s and since the early 20s in the River Arts District, and more recently in downtown Black Mountain. The arts can not only help us rebuild, but will also provide the social emotional support we all need to process this trauma. That is why arts and culture industries were named one of the top 5 sectors prioritized for early economic recovery investments in New Orleans after Katrina. To highlight and support our creative businesses, this spring, Arts AVL is excited to launch the 2025 Connection Campaign, a comprehensive arts marketing plan for Buncombe County to attract visitors and re-engage locals in 4 key arts regions: the River Arts District, downtown Asheville, Black Mountain, and Weaverville. Arts AVL continues to work closely with partners at all levels, local, state, regional, and national, to keep our artists and arts businesses here. They are vital to our recovery and resilience. Last week, Arts AVL was joined by the staff from the National Endowment for the Arts, North Carolina Arts Council, Arts NC, as well as members of the Economic Development Administration and Small Business Administration for a series of arts recovery meetings in Buncombe, Mitchell, and Madison counties. In addition, Arts AVL has completed a number of local and regional assessments and continues to advocate on behalf of the art sector for short and long-term recovery. You can find more information on recent assessments at artsavl.org/reports. Thank you again to Buncombe County for inviting me to speak today and for everyone working on behalf of our community. Thank you.
And now we'll turn things over to the City of Asheville. City Manager Debra Campbell is here.
Thank you, Lillian, and good morning. As stated, my name is Debra Campbell, and I serve as the City Manager of Asheville. As usual, I want to start by thanking everyone in the community for your continued support and your ongoing efforts to contribute to our community's recovery from Tropical Storm Helene. We are on day 161 of our emergency response and recovery efforts. Today, we will provide City of Asheville staff a few updates on water testing and the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers system at North Fork and Debra plants, Harris Cherokee Center, Asheville, events and economic impacts, storm debris removal within the city limits, and lastly, the CDBG-DR draft action plan and next steps. And now I'll turn it over to Clay Chandler, the Water Department Public Information Officer, who will give an update on our water system.
Thank you, Ms. Campbell. Start with turbidity watch at North Fork. Turbidity at 8 o'clock this morning was 3.98. I think that's down from around 7 since the last time I was here. Continues to fall. I think I mentioned a couple of times I thought it would stay at 10, then I thought it would stay at 8, but it keeps falling. That's really good news. We're happy about that. We did post a huge batch a couple of days ago of lead results on our website. All told, out of 3,306 results posted, 59 had detectable levels of lead on the first draw. Of those 59, 18 were over the action limit of 0.015 parts per billion. Out of 3,306 flush samples, 8 had detectable levels of lead. I think there were 2 that were still over the action limit, and we've taken some remediation measures with those customers. The DTECs, excuse me, the DTECs continue to share a commonality. The customers' water systems had all been sitting dormant for an extended period of time. Another thing that we've noticed is that some customers are sampling from basement faucets that never get used for any reason. And that's a really good way to get a lead detect is to sample from a faucet or a sink that you never use. We are still within the 90th percentile required by the EPA and the DEQ, meaning at least 90% of the first draw samples must have detectable levels of lead under the action limit. I think we're actually at like 99.5%. Again, very happy about that. We're encouraged by those results, and they reinforce that flushing is the best way to minimize your risk of lead exposure. Lead test kit pickup and drop-off is still available at Asheville City Hall, 70 Court Plaza, from 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. And the current turnaround time on results right now is about 4 weeks. The Corps of Engineers systems at North Fork, that system has kind of hovered between 10 and 15 million gallons a day. That's proven to be a pretty effective split between the core system and the existing systems at North Fork. That's working really, really well right now. And a couple of weeks ago, a similar system came online at Debra treatment plant in Beetree, and that has been producing between 2.5 and 3 million gallons a day since it started up. As usual, finished water turbidity, or the water that has passed through our treatment and filtration processes, hovers between 0.02 and 0.05 NTU, and that's what it was pre-Helene. So as much as possible, we are just about back to where we were before the storm. We're certainly happy about that. We're grateful for our partners at the Corps of Engineers and at FEMA. We still have to get resilient. I know I've talked to several of you in the past couple of weeks about some of the projects that we need to make our system as resilient as possible. That's it for me today. Very brief update. I will be available for questions. John, I saw you were logged on, so I really do expect to hear from you.
Thank you, Clay. The Harris Cherokee Center in Asheville continues to assist in our community's economic recovery. In February, the facility hosted 20 events with nearly 49,000 attendees. Most notably, 6 sold-out concerts with musician Billy Strings, whose concerts generated a direct spend in our community of $15.7 million, according to the Buncombe County Tourism Development Authority. There are currently 18 events planned for March and 19 planned for April. Thanks, Chris Cole and staff in our Department of Community and Regional Entertainment Facilities for your aggressive recruitment efforts. This weekend, the Harris Cherokee Center, Asheville, will host the Ingalls Southern Conference Basketball Championships, also known as SoCon. 16 basketball games will take place with an expected attendance of over 30,000 and an annual direct spend in our community of over $5.1 million. SoCon tickets are available at the box office. Games are also streamed online and broadcast nationally. More information on SoCon can be found at www.soconhoops.com. Now an update on storm debris removal. 622,169 cubic yards of storm debris and nearly 96,000 tons of mud and silt have been collected across Asheville. 133,907 cubic yards have been collected from the waterways within the city limits of Asheville, and 116 private properties within the city have been cleared of debris through the private property debris removal program. Contractors are conducting a final sweep to collect remaining storm debris from the right-of-way. Crews will not collect any debris in the right-of-way after this final pass. The anticipated completion of this final right-of-way pass is April the 1st. As a reminder, debris removal efforts within local waterways and through the private property debris removal program will continue, even though right-of-way collection is wrapping up. As our community is aware, our water supply systems at the Bee Tree and Norfolk reservoirs experienced extensive tree loss and multiple landslides. The city has conducted drone surveys to assess damage. Additionally, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers performed sonar surveys to identify debris in water reservoirs, and the National Guard is currently conducting on-foot assessments to document and locate debris. The city has formally requested FEMA assistance for debris removal within these watersheds. Removing storm debris in our reservoir watersheds is critical to reducing wildfire risk and protecting Asheville's water supply system. All removal efforts will be conducted with care to preserve the sensitive ecosystem. We are pleased to see this steady progress and remain grateful to the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers and debris removal contractor, Ashbridge. We ask that residents give them plenty of room as they conduct their work, and to please avoid closed riverfront parks and greenways for your safety and so that they can focus their efforts on the work at hand without the additional worry of the safety of unauthorized persons on site. Regular updates on storm debris collection can be found at www.ashevillerecovers.org. And lastly, CDBG DR grant. After a series of public meetings in February, city staff used public input to inform the CDBG DR draft action plan, which is now available to read on ashevillerecovers.org. We invite the public to provide comments and feedback on the draft action plan. The open comment period will run from March the 4th to April the 3rd. This feedback will further shape the final action plan. You can find a link to submit feedback on the plan at the CDBG-DR webpage on www.ashevillerecovers.org. There will also be 3 public feedback sessions in March where residents can provide comments. Each session will focus on one of the 3 categories of the program, those being housing, economic revitalization, and infrastructure. These sessions will take place on the following days. For housing, the session will be on March 19th at the Harris Cherokee Center, Asheville, in the banquet hall from 6 to 8 p.m. For economic revitalization, the session will be on March 24th at the Radical Hotel, Golden Hour Restaurant from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. For infrastructure, the session will be on March the 26th at the Ferguson Auditorium at AB Tech from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Information for these meetings and a link to register are available on ashevillerecovers.org. In closing, I'd like to extend my continued thanks to the mayor and city council, all of our dedicated City of Asheville employees, our other partners in the county, state, and federal government, as well as our private and nonprofit partners who continue to work tirelessly on recovery efforts. I'll now turn it back over to Lillian.
Who knew that today would be the day we learned that the city manager is a big Billy Strings fan? Yeah. All right. At this point, we will turn things over to members of the media who are on a separate Zoom link. I'm going to go ahead and ask Clay to walk on up here because I bet John's going to unmute in a second and let us hear the birds singing in his yard.
Just a wind whipping around today, Lillian.
What's the question, John?
Oh, I do have questions for Clay.
Good morning, John.
Hey, good morning, Clay. Hey, on DeBrule with that system, the Army Corps system, is that essentially the exact same system that y'all got at North Fork?
It is. It's the DAF units. The only difference is that system's a lot smaller. At North Fork, we have 13 of those units. At DeBrule, we have 3. And that's simply a function of the size of the reservoir.
Yeah.
DeBrule is about 500 million gallons of water, and North Fork is about 6 billion gallons. So big difference in size.
Right. And and you may have mentioned this, I don't think you did. What's the turbidity at DeBrule now?
Let's see, I looked at DeBrule turbidity yesterday and it was like 6.8, which is way lower than what it was. Now, the difference there is it's a lot different style. It's a lot thicker. It's still very sludgy and kind of muddy at DeBrule, whereas at North Fork, it's that really fine silt.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And then I know this was a couple months ago now, but y'all were hoping to keep these systems in place. What's the latest on that? Do you want to keep these both in place?
We still hope to keep the systems in place until we can get our filters upgraded to the point where they can treat turbid water. That is not 100% our decision, but we're going to make the case as strongly as we can to keep these systems in place until those filters are upgraded.
And will that include the curtains that are at North Fork?
I would say the curtains are going to live at North Fork for the foreseeable future. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Those are my questions. Thank you.
Any additional questions from the media or in the chat? As we close things out, we'll thank everyone for joining us here every week. And thanks again to the hundreds of y'all who turned out at our Helene Recovery Resource Series. It was great to be able to meet you and talk with you at those events and to help connect to disaster case management and the other services that we had available. The Small Business Administration was great. But if there is a certain topic or a community partner that folks would like to hear from, please email those ideas to pio@buncombecounty.org. And we'll see about getting them invited to our community briefings like Arts AVL did so quickly said yes to us this week. So as always, reminder, we send out emergency alerts through our texting platform, and with the fires and wind and rain, that's top of mind for a lot of people. Text BC alert to 99411 to get added to that text alert or email alerts so that we can let you know when we are preparing for inclement weather and also other positive events happening in the organization. With that, we will close things out and we will look forward to seeing y'all next Wednesday here at 11 a.m. Thank you.